Good morning, Mathletes and Filmmakers. It's Friday, October... crap, what day is it? Where's my watch? I can't find it, so we're just going to assume it's the 19th. Last Sunday night, we actually had a Midnight Madness of our own to celebrate the first day that our basketball teams were allowed to practice and be on the floor. And for those of you who don't know, I'm actually on the Caltech basketball team. Surprising, I know, but don't worry, we suck. And so Sunday night, we had an event where the student body could come out and support us, and we could show them what a great season we're gonna have. But of course, the only way we actually got them to show up was by offering them free food. Everyone here is sufficiently in that college mindset where we would sell our souls for free food. So we fed them and then tried to entertain them for a while by having fan events. And then starting at midnight, the basketball teams went out and did a big spectacle. On the women's side, we do layups, and I just hope that I won't miss and embarrass myself in front of everyone. And then on the men's side, they go through and try to do fancy dunks and show off. But they're not actually that tall or good at dunking. Even the beaver agrees with me. And so for the rest of the week, we've officially started basketball practice, which means it's sucking out all of my free time and energy. To tell you the truth, I came back from practice today, showered, and was ready to get in bed before I remembered that I needed to make a video. Caitlin, you were this close to being able to punish me. But obviously I did not have time to prepare something to talk about, so instead I'm going to take Nerimon's YouTube survey.
Why are you called that?
I'm not called that. My name's Susan. Oh, that was a bad one. I'm really sorry, guys. For real now. My parents tell me that they named me Susan because they wanted something common enough that people could spell it without having to ask, but not too common that there'd be like 10 Susans in my class. Which so far has worked out. Most everyone can spell Susan. Sometimes I get the occasional S-U-Z-A-N. Not really sure where they grew up. And also I haven't met a lot of Susans my age. In a more interesting story, my basketball nickname is Scooby, explaining why I have so many Scooby-related things behind me. And I got that nickname because apparently it's traditional for people on our team to have nicknames. And I had this bad habit of saying people's names weird when I was calling for them, which they apparently thought sounded like Scooby-Doo. So people now call me Scooby. In fact, most of the athletics department does because that's all Coach refers to me as. And when we get recruits or new frosh that come onto campus, she's like, "Hi, meet Scooby." I'm fairly certain most of them don't know what my actual name is.
Tell us about your favorite school teacher, yeah.
This one's probably a tie between my middle school science teacher, Miss Atkins, and my high school math teacher, Mr. Walter. Miss Atkins was one of those super cool teachers that was like laid back in lectures and would curse in class, which I thought was the coolest thing ever in middle school. Plus, I actually felt like I learned a lot from her. She helped me a lot with my middle school science project. I won first place, by the way. And she really encouraged me to continue my pursuit of scientific knowledge. And I had Mr. Walter for 2 math classes in high school, Algebra 2 and Statistics. And he was one of those pretty cool laid-back teachers too. He was actually the dad of one of my best friends from elementary school. But most importantly, he's the first one who really showed me some of the real-world applications of math. Of course, in high school, everyone's thinking, when am I ever going to use this in real life? But he would often give me little assignments or papers to read that really exposed me to the modern-day branches of mathematics. And trust me, it's out there a lot more than you realize. I actually attribute his teaching to one of the main reasons that I'm an applied math major now.
The strangest food.
I can't say I've ever eaten any really strange food. I'm kind of a picky eater, to be honest. So I guess I will say... elk? Last spring break, I went to my friend Richard's house in Montana. You guys remember Richard, right? Talked about him in my last video. And at his house, they don't eat any meat that they don't shoot. So I had deer, duck, and elk. But I think of those, elk is probably the weirdest. That's kind of as far as I've ever branched out. And really the only reason I did there was because I was there for a week and I would have starved otherwise. But turns out it's actually pretty good. Doesn't taste like chicken, but it's pretty good.
Tell us about your first gig.
Now, gig to me usually means that you're playing a show, and I've never done that before. But from the answers that Alex Day gave in his own video, I think he just means concert. Okay, I just looked it up to see if it's some kind of weird British slang, and I didn't find out. But what I did find is that a gig is also a name for the blade that a professional wrestler uses to cut himself. What kind of wrestling is this? I have never heard of that. So my first concert that I went to, I think I was about 8, and I went to the Rolling Stones with my parents. And the first one that I went to by myself was the Darren Criss concert my freshman year. Yeah, it turns out I don't go to a lot of concerts. Gigs.
What's your favorite place?
My favorite place in the world is probably my bed. It's just so comfy, and I get to sleep. And what more could you ask for? Although if we're talking real places, I suppose it would be London. Is it weird that it's my favorite place when I've never actually been there? I already told you guys about my weird love for all things English.
Who do you want to answer the survey next?
Caitlin, it's your turn. For all the mathletes, I'm Susan. For all the film majors, Kate will be back on Monday, possibly answering this survey. For everyone else, thanks for joining us.